Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, repairing and restoring your credit. Part 5 in our series on the #1 New Year's resolution, getting fiscally fit. Welcome to segment 5. We're talking about repairing and restoring your credit. And especially if you're a young person and you're just starting out, boy, if you could just eliminate all the hassles of your parents and your grandparents and some of the things that we got into, you could really save yourself a lot of headache and heartache. So when we're talking about building good credit, one of the things we want to do is think about how we're going to use our first credit card. Listen, I was in college. We didn't have credit cards back in the day. All of a sudden they gave us a line of credit. We started buying things that we really didn't need. It wasn't of real value. It wasn't really a necessity. And all of a sudden the things that we used to call a necessity or a desire became necessities. We talked ourselves into it and let the marketeers and the advertisers market to our soul and make us feel inadequate and insecure about not having whatever item they were hawking or selling. Now, so I want to look at how do I go and restore. My goal is to pay this off every month. I only use credit cards as a convenience, and I like to look at it every month, see what I've spent, but I always want to pay it off every single month. I want to know what my turnover date or my end of my 30-day my cycle. I want to know what my cycle is because I want to be able to say, hey, if I don't have to buy that and my cycle stops in 3 days, instead of paying this today on the 14th, my cycle stops the 15th, I'll just buy it in the 16th or the 17th. Since most people spend serious money on the holidays, if you're really smart, you should do a little bit of it in October, a little bit more after your cycle date, in November, a little bit in December, and you're spreading it out so that you can actually have cash flow and then paying it off little by little. So you want to be strategic about your spending and you want to be strategic about using good credit. And what I want to do is I want to obtain a credit report. A lot of times I looked at my last one. It was I think it was 804 on my FICO score, which is like one of the top 1% in the United States. I have 4 revolving credit cards. I pay them off. If I use them, I pay them off every month diligently. I've been doing what I just said since 1990. So I've really been at the truth. And when I was a young person, oh, I was terrible. No discipline at all. Things I did are just craziness. I can't believe I did it and that my wife put up with it. But now that I've learned a few things, I've learned about how to build credit and to do it in a way that can really serve me. So I want to learn how to build assets. I want to show some stability in my cash flow, and I want to use credit card only on the things I actually need, not on the things I got to have. Listen, life happens. It just does. I didn't expect my car to have a repair. Now I have one. I should have an emergency fund to pick up the deductibles on my insurance for a car, my deductibles on my home, my deductibles on my medical. I should have emergency funds. If I don't have work, I should have an emergency fund for all this. But sometimes people are where they are and they'll say, wow, I had just had a huge dental bill or a medical bill, or I had to get my car repaired. So they went out and they got it. They had no other place, so they spent it on their credit. But you need to get out of that payment immediately and buckle down and really pay it off. And if you can do it before it starts charging you interest, before the clock starts, all the better. So what I'm first looking for is I'm trying to look at how do I start? I would start off really building good credit by paying on time, never paying interest because I'm just throwing money away, and trying to look at the best way to manage my cash flow because that's the name of the game. Now, let's say it's too late for all that. I already have bad credit. Well, one of the things we can do is fixing bad credit. You can first limit the number of cards you use, charge less, and make your payments on time. So that means you may have to kind of step away from spending for a little while, and you may have to sell some things at your garage sale and really bring your lifestyle down a notch or two. You'll be surprised that you could save 10% of your total budget spending a year and really do a good job and not feel deprived. You should really look at that because that's a discipline issue that you can interject and insert into your monthly budget, and it'll really help you. Think about this. You can limit the number of cards you use, charge less, make your payments on time, but don't stop using cards entirely to meet your obligations because you're really trying to build some credit. You may need it. You need that responsible credit line of credit for something that's really a dire emergency. It could be dental, it could be medical, it could be an auto repair. So yes, I want you to have an emergency fund for that and put cash away, but I can't always deal with the ideal. A lot of my clients just don't have that kind of cash flow. So I got to look at this, spend it wisely. One thing about fixing bad credit, number 2, don't repeatedly shift balances from one card to another All you're doing is robbing Peter to pay Paul. In the old days when you used to write a check, against an account and file another check, that was a federal offense. You couldn't just write one check and it's a bad check and you send it to the next bank account and the next bank account, and all you're doing is moving money, and you're moving a phantom account to one account to another account. Credit card the same way. I paid my balance off by shifting it over to another one. I look at my credit card, it looked great. I keep moving and sharing it. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of balance and you're going to keep spending and you're going to be at the top of your actual credit. You maxed out your cards and you'll have nowhere to go. 3, you got to develop a plan to pay off your debts. I like using mortgage money right away, equity position if I can, as long as I know that I'm going to be dutiful and obligatory and paying that off at the moment I can. I'm just trying to consolidate, create cash flow, and pay it off at a lower interest rate with a more extended timeline. But keep in mind, if it's a HELOC loan, remember you have obligations. If they want to come in there and say you need to pay this off at any one time because the value of your home went below the actual equity line of credit, you could have to write a check. So just be careful. I want to look at these 3 things. I want to fix bad credit. Now, you can look at some of the national credit systems that are out there to kind of give you an idea. Most people, the higher your credit is, the lower you spend on interest. So if I want the best possible mortgage loan, I'm going to have a very, very good score from Equifax or Experian or TransUnion. So these are some of the big 3 that are out there right now in the United States. They track your credit. You can kind of see what's going on. Every month I get a report. Has anybody opened up any accounts in my name? Did I miss a payment? I found something on my credit that wasn't even mine, and I got it repaired by stating this is not mine. I don't even live in this city. I would never live in this city, and I was able to fix it. Somehow, some way, it was just a poor billing mistake, but nevertheless, it wound up on my report. So you can go to these and they're listed out on the internet. You can go out and hit the browser for Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion and get an idea. Some cards, I'm thinking like I think Discover is one of them, maybe Citibank, I can't remember which one. They actually do FICO scores and you can actually get that right on the site. You can say, hey, what's my score? And they'll show you your score right on site, and that's usually a free service. So what I want to do is I want to be able to establish and try to be able to do the best I possibly can to get my house in order. Credit history is a huge issue. How did I treat my history? They're going to go back 7 years pretty much to see what kind of way that you paid off. Sometimes you missed payments. Sometimes you haven't even paid the card off. It's been out there. You have debt that you don't even know about because you just have so many cards and your life is running 100 miles an hour. You kind of forget all this. So what you want to do is you want to get there to get a consumer information to see your entire credit history. And to see that, you can go to, again, one of the Equifax or FICO scores or some of these other places where you can go ahead and look at your numbers and look at the history of your payment. How many were late? How many were not paid at all? You want to look at your credit history, and your big issues are repairing. If I have a bill that I know is mine and I haven't paid it, I need to pay that bill immediately and restore my credit. My FICO score, my Equifax score, they're all getting dinged. They're getting negative numbers because I'm not paying off or I'm always late. Think about this. Credit card companies started to feel that they wanted to be a little bit more human or a little more benevolent and a little bit of compassion by giving us, oh, you were late 1 month, they're going to let that slide. You start being late 2, 3 months, now they're not going to let it slide, and it's going to start to hit your credit account. So you want to be able to make sure that you're managing your credit dutifully, you're looking at your history. You have to think at it from the lender's point of view. What does a lender want to see? He's going to look at your credit report and your score. Remember, even if you're going for life insurance, they're going to look at your credit score. They're going to look at you for your insurance for your home and auto. You start to say, well, why are they looking at that? They're valuing your ability to pay. They're valuing your ability to have good credit and a good history. A good history can go a long way and really bring you to a place where you're spending the least amount of money on interest and you're buying things of value and you're using it. And remember, you have the ability to make payments based on your income and your job history. They're going to look at your income, look at your payment, and they love to look at one area, and I'll leave you with this on this segment. Your debt to income ratio, or what you owe, is based upon what you can earn. Just remember, your debt to income, that's why I said in the prior segment, you have 7 flags and you're spending over 40% in mortgage, second mortgage, and or credit card. You're spending too much in debt service. Your debt service to income ratio is out of whack. You need to be below 33%. That's just probably your mortgage payment. So you need to really manage it down. Remember, good credit history is where it's at. You want to be able to see and put yourself in the lender's place, and this will allow you to understand how they think and how you need to position your credit use, using it prudently and wisely so that you can build money in a cash flow, so you can build savings accounts for retirement and for long-term care and some of the other needs you're going to have when you get older. I want to thank you for watching our series on the #1 New Year's resolution, getting fiscally fit. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.